By Lenny, Bernstein, Philip Rucker and Robert Moore, The Washington Post U.S. Customs and Border Protection ordered medical checks on every child in its custody Tuesday after an 8-year-old boy from Guatemala died, marking the second death of an immigrant child in the agency's care this month. In a statement, Rep. Joaquin Castro, D. Texas, identified the boy as Felipe Alonzo-Gomez. Castro, chairman-elect of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, said that many questions remain unanswered, including how many children have died in CBP custody. The boy died shortly after midnight on Christmas Day, the CBP said. His death came 17 days after 7-year-old Joaquin Castro, another Guatemalan national, died of dehydration and shock less than a day after she was apprehended by border agents. The death highlighted the stalemate over President Donald Trump's demand that Congress approve additional money for a wall along the U.S. border with Mexico, a standoff that has shut down parts of the federal government for 4 days. Trump said again Tuesday that there will be no change until his demands are met. CBP said in the statement it needs the help of other government agencies to provide health care. The agency is considering options for surge medical assistance from the Coast Guard and may request help from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Defense, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. A CBP spokesman could not immediately answer how many children are currently in the agency's custody. But with border crossings surging, CBP processes thousands of children, both alone and with their parents, every month. The child who died Tuesday had become ill Monday, according to a CBP news release. A Border Patrol agent took him and his father to Gerald Champion Regional Medical Center in Alamogordo, New Mexico, where the boy was diagnosed with a cold, according to the CBP. Later, he was found to have a fever and was held for an additional 90 minutes before he was released with prescriptions for an antibiotic and ibuprofen. But the child became more seriously ill Monday night, when he vomited and was taken back to the hospital. He died shortly after midnight on Christmas Day. The cause of the child's death is not known. A CBP spokesman declined to provide details on where the child was being held or when he was apprehended. A CBP official familiar with the circumstances of the case, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he is not authorized to speak publicly, said the child was apprehended in El Paso, Texas, and then taken to a Border Patrol cell at a checkpoint between Las Cruces and Alamogordo, New Mexico, because of overcrowding in the El Paso holding cells. The cells in the Alamogordo facility are small, designed to hold an adult for just a few hours during processing. They are not set up to hold families, the official said. Felipe and his father were detained by CBP for about a week, an unusually long time that the agency did not fully explain Tuesday. CBP typically detains immigrants for no more than a few days when they cross the border before either releasing them or turning them over to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement for longer-term detention. An investigation into CBP actions will be conducted by the agency's Office of Professional Responsibility, the news release said. The Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General and Congress have been notified, it said. The Guatemalan government also has been notified. Guatemalan officials are meeting with the boy's father and will speak with any family members who are in Guatemala, according to the news release. The hospital said in a statement that privacy regulations prevent us from sharing information about any individual patient. Our thoughts and prayers are with this family during this very difficult time. Under guidelines established after the government waited several days to inform Congress about Joaquin Castro's death, CBP agreed to notify lawmakers within 24 hours of a death of anyone in its custody and issue a media statement an hour after that. Notifications also must be issued to non-governmental organizations that work with migrants and others. Rep. Lucille Roybal-Allard, D. Califf, the ranking Democrat on the Health and Homeland Security Appropriations Subcommittee, said in an interview that, "The reality is that a detention center is no place for a child, particularly a sick child. When that child was determined to be ill, had a 103-degree fever, why they would send that child back to a detention center, which is really not fit for even a well child? That's something that we're looking into, because that policy or whatever caused them to send that child back has to be changed." In a tweet directed at Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, Rep. Luis Correa, D. Califf, said, "This is the second child this month. What is going on at DHS.gov? Does it House Homeland have to start subpoenaing you to get the truth?" Ruby Powers, a Houston-based lawyer and member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, said the boy's death is not unexpected given the difficult conditions that immigrants and their children face on the journey north to the United States and the way authorities shuttle families between facilities. "There's a lack of ownership of the detainee, thinking they won't be in their hands very long, moving them along to the next location, and that is where the lack of care can occur," she said. Quote, "I know I'm supposed to be shocked, but knowing everything I know, I'm not shocked." Jacqueline's family has disputed CBP reports that the child went several days without food and water before she died, saying she was healthy when she arrived in the United States. In a news conference earlier this month, a migrant advocate said the girl's father, 29-year-old Neri Call, had told him that Jacqueline was healthy and had no pre-existing conditions. "He's been very clear, very consistent that his daughter was healthy, and his daughter very much wanted to come with him," said Ruben Garcia, founder and executive director of Annunciation House, an El Paso-based nonprofit that aids migrants. The symptoms the 8-year-old boy exhibited are similar to the ones Jacqueline showed before she died. More than a day before she died, Jacqueline, her father and 161 other Central American migrants crossed the U.S. border outside Antelope Wells, New Mexico, seeking to turn themselves into Border Patrol agents. The Department of Homeland Security has said that the girl did not show signs of health problems during a routine check conducted when she and her father were taken into custody. The initial screening revealed no evidence of health issues. During the screening, the father denied that either he or his daughter were ill. This denial was recorded on Form I-779 signed by the father, the DHS account said. It added that they were offered food and water, and had access to restrooms. The form was in English, but CBP officials said agents provided a verbal translation. The family's attorneys have said that it was unacceptable to have Jacqueline's father sign a document in a language that he didn't understand. Jacqueline's body was returned to Guatemala on Monday. The Associated Press contributed to this report.